mission of 1 million cuts is the opportunity to network. So I'm glad that you guys are maximizing that time. Great to hear the conversation. Our second distinguished entrepreneur this morning that we're highlighting is Cliff Callis, the president of Callis and Associates. Callis and Associates is an integrated marketing agency Cliff founded in Sedalia nearly 30 years ago. Today, Cliff is going to share his thoughts on significant marketing trends impacting businesses today and the opportunities entrepreneurs have to leverage those trends to grow their business. So, folks, please help me in joining Cliff this morning.
Thank you. So I appreciate you being here today. I'm not your typical 1 million cups speaker. I've been to the 1 million cups in Kansas City several times, and it's really all about new ideas. But yet marketing is always a new idea, and every day we are challenged in our business to come up with new ideas for our clients, but then also to take new technologies and new techniques, test them, and use them to make them work. I love the fact that 1 million cups is based around coffee. You know, my mom used to be a coffee drinker, and she said, son, coffee's a lot like men. I'm like, really? Yeah. Don't go there, right? No, she said, no, really. I said, what? How do you mean that? She said, well, the best ones they're rich and they'll keep you up all night. So I said, Mom, I don't need to hear that. So anyway, this is going to be like speed marketing. Anybody been to a speed dating thing where you just share ideas as fast as possible? My goal is to get you out of here by 10 o'clock. And so what I wanted to do today is just share some of the things that we're seeing and experiencing in our business that we're putting to work or starting to put to work for our clients. I'm going to throw in some things that I've learned in my 30 years of being in the marketing business. And so we're going to start with something that's called, and forgive my overlap, this is supposed to be a scroll, but there we go. Okay, so big data. Think about this. Anytime you're on your computer, you're surfing, you're looking at websites, you're buying stuff, you're doing a search, that's all being watched. And watched is maybe not the best word, but it is actually what it is, because everything that you're doing online is being gathered and put into a big database that just keeps growing and growing and growing. Google's got one, Facebook's got one, the government's got one. There's all these big databases. And so just keep in mind that everything that you do is being captured. And I'm going to get back to this in just a little bit, but it's when you think about it, it's kind of a scary thought. But from a marketing point of view, it's awesome because you're able to put people into markets that otherwise we've not been able to do before. So that's called big data, and big data is everywhere. The next one is called the Internet of Things, IoT. I want to start a company called Idiot, which is trying to figure out the Internet of Things. Maybe I'll be back here in a few months talking about Idiot. Think about everything that the Internet is connected to today. Just, if you have a smart home, a smart refrigerator, a smart alarm system, a smart TV, now there's smart cars, and all these things are hooked to the Internet, right? Okay, and this is just the beginning. So someday, one day, it's not that far off, everything's going to be hooked to the Internet. And so what that allows you to do then is also to be gathering data. It goes both ways. So you're using the Internet as a way to make products better. Think about the car that, maybe they'll come up with this, the truck that backs its way in, So, you buy a car, it can back itself into a parking spot. I could talk on this all day because this is really cool, but the Internet of Things is happening already right now. It's not really new. Branding is still the foundation for everything that you do. And so the challenge is that there are so many different ways to impact your brand, positively and negatively. Social media is probably the one that has the fastest and most dangerous implication for your business. But you can create solid branding, and you should create solid branding, and it becomes the foundation for everything that you do. because who you think you are may or may not be who your customer thinks you are. But over time, you can influence what your customer thinks about who you are through branding. So branding is the foundation for every other piece of marketing that you're going to be doing. And one of these days, I'm going to figure out whether we're going up or down to get this thing to, this is like backing in left or backing in right. Yep, there we go. Now we're going down. Okay, so branding. So this is something that you ought to pay really close attention to if you're not. Many people do, online presence management. And basically what it is your website, your blog, and all your social media outlets. And it's kind of like, when you're a consumer, there's this database of everything about you as a consumer and a buyer and a shopper. When you have a business, then your online presence is your website, your blog, and all your social media outlets. They all ought to be consistent. They all ought to be dynamic. And they all ought to be part of your marketing efforts on an ongoing basis. The average time now to redo your website is 3 years. So if you haven't redone your website in 3 years, you ought to start working on a new one. It's not to say that everybody does it within 3 years, but that's the national average now. And the reason is that technology is driving change, and I'll talk about it in a little bit later. A blog doesn't have to be a blog. A blog can be a piece of technology that's integrated into the website and can be used as a way to disseminate information. Is that my 6 minutes? Where are you at, Jessica? You left, didn't you?
No, I'm engaged.
No, okay. Oh, thank you. I'll speed it up. And social media, you should have a program, you should have a calendar, you should be working on a regular basis, but you have to pay attention to it. You have to manage it. Next one, content marketing, search, and social are powerful, and they all work together. Content marketing is basically producing content, and there's tons of different types of content. Producing content, put it on your website, send it out through social media, and have it there so that people search for things and find you. Think about it. Think about your own lives. Everybody searches on Google every day. Google's powerful. Google is the almighty and wonderful Oz. But search is powerful. So people looking for you, if you build content on your website, they'll go looking for things that have nothing to do with you, but they'll find you because you're there. And social media is your way to get the message out. It's kind of like we call content gasoline, or content is the fire and gasoline is social media. Pour it on there, let it go, let it burn. I'm going to get this yet. Video engagement. Video is hot. Video entices people, encourages people, gets them engaged, generates all kind of likes, shares, make your social media really powerful. YouTube is the number 2 search engine. Your video ought to be on YouTube. You ought to have a YouTube channel, and it ought to be part of your total online management. Programmatic media buying is a scientific, automated way to buy media. It used to be that you bought media by hand. It was a fairly manual process. And traditional media, in many ways, is still bought that way. You negotiate by hand. RTV is real-time bidding. And so, I want to go back to my example of Internet of Things and big data. So, you're sitting on your couch, you're watching the ball game, or you're watching Kelly and Michael, or maybe just Kelly now. And that's an inside joke because my wife's a Kelly freak and she's freaking out. Anyway, so you've got Facebook on, right? And you're looking at it and, wow, I get served an ad. Okay, there are people that are bidding for everybody, and every one of you in the room. And it's real-time bidding. It happens just like this. And what happens is these databases collect information about you, and they put you into segments. Every one of us is into multiple segments based upon our behavior and our attitudes and everything we do online. And then there are companies that want to serve you ads right here or on your desktop, wherever you are, your iPad. They want to serve you ads. You've probably noticed them. And most of the time they're relevant because they know that you're interested in what they are selling because of your buying behavior. So the real-time bidding is there are computers that are bidding on you real-time. Oh, I'm going to send one to them. I'm going to send one to them. And they feed you the ads. Boop, Integration of all marketing and media. This is something that's been going on for some time now. Basically what it means is everything that you're doing ought to be fully integrated, so you're saying the same thing in every possible way that you can, so that when we go back to that brand, you're reinforcing your brand with everything that you do. And it's hard because there are so many different options out there today for how you can market. It's important that you make sure it's all integrated together. We have this Venn diagram that shows all the different ways that you can market yourself: media, digital, online, public relations. They all work together. There's a core of things you should do, such as planning, production, strategy, creative, etc. It all works together all the time. Test and measure everything. If you don't use Google Analytics, you should. It's fascinating. It's not brain surgery. You know, what we do in marketing is not brain surgery. It's more like rocket science, I think. It's actually very much common sense. However, because there's so much information out there that you can use to build marketing programs, if you test and measure, you can just make your marketing programs better and better and better. And Google Analytics is a great tool that you can use to help do that. There's tons of other tools too. In fact, my next point is technology tools. We've been watching technology tools for some time, and over the last 5 years, they've grown exponentially. You can find a technology tool for whatever business you're in and utilize it, and there's tons of them. The easiest to get into and use is probably Google Apps. I don't know, how many people use Google Apps? Email, communications, calendar, document sharing. It's a great tool. I mean, I do own some Google stock, but it's not about pushing Google, but Google is powerful, and what they do really influences marketing. Marketing automation is another tool. It's a tech tool. And essentially, when you go to a website, you've probably noticed this part. You go to a website, maybe you're looking for a vacation. Okay, so you're on Orbitz. Okay, and then you go and you're looking for some shoes, and then Orbitz follows you along, right? That's called retargeting. And that's kind of a basic form of marketing automation. It's really advertising. It's part of the programmatic media buying that's done, is feeding people retargeting ads because they know you're interested because you've been there. Marketing automation is a system that businesses use where if you go in and you have some level of engagement with a website, like you sign up for an e-letter or something, now you're going to go into a system and you're going to get fed ads via email to you based upon your interest. It's very sophisticated. There's a system in place, and as soon as you engage, then more than likely you're going to get some higher level of engagement. It's a great tool, and it's just happening. The last point that I want to make today is evolve. There's my evolve chart. This is not new either, but evolution is occurring really fast in marketing. When I got into marketing 30 years ago, I got in without a computer. Now, the young people in the room, I know that blows your mind, but my first computer was a 64K, which I saw a document that I wrote yesterday, and it was 44K, one document. And so in the last 30 years, marketing has revolutionized, not evolutionized. But in our world now, it's just an evolving process, and you kind of have to stay up with it. So I'm sorry I went longer than my time, but that's what's happening from our perspective in marketing right now. We got 2 minutes for questions. And if you don't want to ask any, I'll stick around for a bit and you can get out of here on time. Thanks.
So Cliff is, stay up there.
Oh, sorry. Come on.
You're a wealth of knowledge, and I do want to give the floor an opportunity to ask Cliff any questions. Sir?
Cliff, for new companies, startups or entrepreneurial activities, how do you plan a budget for marketing? I mean, is there a magic number, a percentage, or is it just wing it?
I wouldn't wing it. Within every industry, there are rules of thumb. There are percentages based upon sales. Revenues usually what they're tied to. If you're trying to grow a business, that percentage ought to be higher. If you're in a business where you're trying to maintain, it should be at that level. And if you're trying to save some money over a short-term period, maybe you back off of that a little bit. When you're starting a new business, you need to be on the high side of the range, and maybe even take it a little higher than that, just to make sure that you get the message out that you have to get out. And it's hard, but it needs to be part of the pro forma of the business.
I have one last question if nobody has any for you. You got off easy this
Thank God. Well, I paid all my friends in the room to not say anything.
So as a gentleman who's been an entrepreneur for many, many years, what can we, because there's still things, if you have a business that's thriving, but what can we do as a community for your business?
Well, the community is very important to me in my business. And so I think supporting the community, continuing to support the community so that we have a great workforce and a nice community in which to live, that's what we're looking for. And if somebody has a significant marketing project that they'd like to discuss, we'd be happy to visit with them. We like to see the growth of our clients. That's probably the most gratifying thing is to start working with somebody and to watch them see the marketing happen. So, thank you.
Thank you.